Hi, I'm going to show you how to wire up one of these cheapo eBay volt and amp meters. Let's take a look at the back of the meter. It's going to have two inputs, one for the voltmeter and one for the amp meter. You should also have these matching wires. This one for the voltmeter, we'll be using the red and yellow cable in parallel, while ignoring the black wire, as our power supply is less than 30 volts. And this beefier looking one is for the amp meter. Let's take a look at how you'd wire it all up. Starting from the positive input of our power supply, first connect the voltmeter's red and yellow wire, then take another wire off to our load. All three of these connections should be in parallel. Now we're going to connect the red amp meter wire to the output of our load. And finally, connect the black amp meter wire to our power supply's ground. Both of these connections should be in series. And that's it, but let's go over it once more with this amazing diagram rather than some wires on our kitchen table. Again, we've got our power source, our load, and the meter we want to wedge between them. Let's start by explaining the voltmeter's red, black, and yellow wires. The red and black one are to power the whole unit. If our source is less than 30 volts, we can ignore the black wire and connect the red and yellow in parallel to where we want to measure. If it's more than 30 volts though, the meter will let the smoke out. So we'd need to connect the red and black wire to a lower voltage power supply and then connect the yellow wire where we want to measure the voltage. As our power supply here is less than 30 volts, we can connect the voltmeter's red and yellow wires straight into the positive. Now let's also run the positive to our LED light through one of these really cool aircraft style switches. Shameless plug time, but if you want to see how I made these Baton lights, give the video in the top right a watch. Then we're going to take the light's output and connect it to our amp meter's red wire, and finally connect the amp meter's black wire to our power supply's ground. Bob's your uncle, she'll start a choo-choo. £3 well spent. All you've got to do is substitute these lights for your own project. Okay, and here it is all put together. I decided to edit out my shoddy soldering. Sorry that you can't really see, but I've got the power from my battery coming in, directly connected in parallel to the voltmeter's red and yellow wire, as well as the input on these two switches. I've got heat shrink around all the joints, but I probably should have covered up the input to these switches with some hot glue. Then at the bottom, I've got this black wire ready to accept the output of my lights, which is connected to the amp meter's red wire. Finally, the amp meter's black wire is connected to the power source's ground black wire. And here it is. The blue switch controls 3 lights, while the red only controls 2. As we turn on either section, as you'd expect, we can see they have different power requirements. There's no mains power in my garage, and I'll be using this to work out how long my battery will last. If this video has been helpful, throw us a like, and best of luck setting up your own.